recording. Hey, this is Monday the 29th and Tuesday the 30th of March as we're going to get into talking about outsiders and killing and stabbing kids, which hard to go wrong with that. Let's see. This is our last Red Day together. Tomorrow we have Red Day also, but this is our last day that just this group will be together. After this, then we're going to be going to both Red and Blue Days together. Then we'll get a chance to go from there. Blue kids, you get your last day with me coming up on like Wednesday. And then after break is going to be both Red and Blue together. And then, hang on 1 second. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to do... It's actually the next screen. Let's see in a second. I'm going to give it to you in just a second. You just got to have patience. All right. So, back to here. So, not this one, the next one. There you go.
Oh, that one?
That one right there. So when we come back from break, it'll be all kids will be here. You'll be all virtual or all here. Schedule does not change. So the schedule stays the exact same. The only thing that changes is the fact that blue kids are here the same day as red kids. You're going to have more kids in the room. But as far as like the classes, don't change anything like that. Gray kids who are just all virtual, nothing really changes for you, except I've got a feeling a small thing will change in the fact that right now you still get attention paid to you at home because half the class is at home. But starting after spring break, there's only going to be like 3 or 4 of you on there. So I've got a feeling a lot of teachers will not be paying as much attention to you. Just so you are aware, which is going to be a little bit sad. But right now, I only have to manage like 10 crazy yahoos. After break, I have to manage 20 crazy yahoos. And that means I'm not going to have as much time to spend on chatty bits. So I just figured I'd keep you guys in the loop on that one. You are allowed to go from being in person to virtual. But once you go virtual, you don't get a chance to come back. So the thing is, once you decide to go to virtual version, you cannot come back to the in-person version. Also, we've been told that if you are supposed to be here and you go like at home virtual that day, you are counted as absent. Because today we have a whole bunch of red kids who apparently stayed up late last night watching NCAA and did not come into school today. And so they're on Zoom, but even if you're on Zoom and you're supposed to be in class, you are counted as absent. So just giving you a heads up on that one. That was the thing we just found out today. Graham.
What if you're like sick?
Yeah, that's not the same thing. Again, if you're sick, that's called being sick. I'm talking about the kids who stayed up last night watching the NCAA and are sick. Those are the kids. If your parents don't call you in, then you're counted as absent.
But if we're sick, we'll be join the Zoom, right?
Again, so not talking about Graham being sick. I'm talking about the kids who don't come to school, like apparently Graham, who's trying to plan out his sickness now a month ahead of time, which really makes your sickness a lot more sus when we get to that time. So hopefully that helps you out from there. Outsiders book, home children, you are going to need your Outsiders book so we can get to that to help you out too. Those of you who are gray kids, I will show you how to get to your copy of the Outsiders book too. And then 6th period kids, because I'm recording this for the other ones, this is how the new seating chart will work when we come back. I will put this up that Monday when you come back. I will put this up on the screen for all of my classes. I am planning ahead for your dumbness. It is okay. So I know that you guys are going to freak out when it comes to it. So again, as of now, these are the kids that I am planning on being in my room. If you're not listed up there and you think you're going to be here, you should probably tell me so I have a seat for you. If you're listed up there and you're not planning on being here, let me know and I can take you off of there. So as of now, this is where I'm planning on you being. So some of you I did have to shift around. It'll just sort of be the way things work out. Hopefully that helps you out a wee bit. Those of you who have 50 B points or more, you do get to choose your seat on Monday, April 19th. So you don't get to it. It's like not until that next week you get a chance to do it if you want to. And so you are more than welcome to. If you are wanting to choose your own seat and you have points, you can move any other kid that has under 50 points. A kid that has 50 points, you can't move them. And you don't spend the points. It's just an automatic thing you get as long as you're a responsible kid with 50 points. Then on Monday, you'd be like, hey, I like to sit in this seat. And I go, okay, done. And you get to take over to that spot. Or choose to be sick. Graham?
If we do a sentence sheet, how many points is that?
5 points every 50 lines. All right. So now we've covered all of those issues.
That's why I
Yeah.
still sit, right?
Yes, you're in the same spot.
Okay, that makes a lot
glad that makes it easier for you.
Honestly, it gets so.
Blue sheet. So let me run through things that are missing as of now. For those of you watching videos, going to stop for a second so I can pause it. Resume. All right, so we're good to go on that one. Kids turning in blue sheets, just make sure you get them turned in, and we're good to go. If not, we get a chance to torture you. Do you know where to find the stuff, Celia, from last Friday? All right, just making sure. I was just trying to not be extra mean to you.
Hey, don't show me. You're distracting me. That is illegal.
Sorry, I got charged gram points again. Go ahead.
What if you have part of a question filled out?
That should be fine. As long as you're not missing whole chunks. If you're missing part of a question, I'm fine with it. I have kids who try to turn it in missing like the entire backside and stuff like that. That's where I have a bit more issues. If you're missing part of a question, I'm not that mean to you. All right, so that covered blue sheets due. And let's see, book we have. There we go. So now we get a chance to begin round 2 for this one. Round 2 is completely optional. It is only a thing if you want to do it. If you do not want to do it, that is fine. If you can do it in 30 seconds or less, you get your automatic sugar or B points. It is up to you. The high score is Eli, who did it in 12 seconds today. So you would have to beat 12 seconds in order to make the board. It was frightening. Yeah, he did it in 12 seconds. But again, 30 seconds is all you need to be able to do. And I'll do the hand signs with you, so it is certainly possible. But that won't be up on the screen. Those of you who are blue kids, you'll get your chance coming up on Wednesday to do it then if you're wanting to. Gray kids, we're going to wait until after spring break on the off chance you come back as a real human. And then if not, then you'll just be out of luck from there. Hi, Graham.
How fast can you do it?
I have no idea. That's a good question. Usually around 12 seconds was the closest I've ever gotten. I don't think I've ever broken 10, but it's been a while since I've tried to do the speedy version. Did we have anybody in here who was going to try it? We do. So hang on. Let's pause recording again. We're back. Home children, we set a 6-period record of 22 seconds. We had multiple kids try, but only one kid actually managed to qualify, which was Jermaine, who officially got himself sugar. Nicely done, Jermaine. Go you. Wednesday, we'll have another round and give kids a chance to try and win some sugar or points. Let's see, myth test. We covered that one. No one else to torture from there. Hi, Celia. You look awful close to the ground. You're still standing until the break. Once you make me torture you, I know. I still get to torture you.
The break is at 2:05.
Silly Celia. Sure, you're back.
Silly Leah.
I know. Right, that's right.
Lily.
There we go. But you got it turned in? And we'll check it break. Not leaning against the wall, are you? No, just make sure. Because if you were, I'd have to be mean and draw a circle on the ground to help you out.
Yeah,
Not like the first time I had to torture a kid. Does leaning against the wall make it easier? Yeah, that's why. I can help you out on that one. That was fun. So the thing that Celia taught us that we have to turn in from before, I think we were done on this, or we have still more things you guys wanted to yell at about it. As far as the 5 things from last week, which was popular kids are the most important kids to the school. It's okay for a kid to get beat down if you know they are mean. I would always help my best friend no matter what they ask me to do. As soon as you fight back, then you're no longer bullied. And kids can't change their social group, dorks, jocks, etc. Horrible children laughing at other people. Like they're right there. You should have fought back, and then it no longer counts as bullying, Jermaine. That's right there trying to get you back. All right. That's not sure that's the way it works. Then home children, actually not home children, all children, get out iPad. I want to show you how to get to things. This is home children. This is where it's going to be a little bit tougher on you because you're going to have a C screen. And okay, well,
He just powered it off.
okay, that's fine. You don't have to. I'm literally doing a thing to help you. If your iPad doesn't work, it just means you don't get the help. It's not a thing. I'm not giving you work. I'm making your life easier. You've now made your life harder. Congratulations. That was a win. So on iPad, go to Canvas page, find my Canvas page, go to thing that says Outsiders page, click on thing that says Outsiders page.
Ah.
So Leah, your iPad's right there. I see it.
Ooh, oh, she on phone.
I'm helping her. Once you click on that page, it's going to take you to the actual Outsiders page. Then, once we click on actual Outsiders page, that's this page. All of you download the ebook on the off chance you are needing to do homework at some point and you don't have access to the paper ebook. We're going to try and help you out this one. So you're going to find the one that says download it here. You have to hold your finger on it and then hold your finger and it should say open. And it should say like open, either open in iBooks, the different updates, put them in different versions, or you can put download it. So it's either open in or download or something like that.
I did it.
Once you've done that, make sure you can get to it. So open it, find it, and you should now have a copy of the book on your iPad to use in the future. I don't know what that is. My iPad. I have a book. Are we just showing each other things?
No, it don't work.
Mine works.
Yeah.
Mine works.
So,
Oh, too cool.
yeah. Oh, not cool. She's just better than you.
No,
All right.
my bro.
What's it say?
Open in background, open a new window, and like download linked file.
Download linked file. So the thing I said to do.
You said open.
And then I also,
Still did it.
what's it say?
Download. Hilton Hinton SE Outsiders.
Yeah. Now swipe.
Mine is right
Then
there.
bring it here. Let's see. Hang on.
Is it supposed to show this?
All right. Anyway, the other thing you're going to want is if you scroll down on this page, this bottom part down there, they are the YouTube links for the audiobook. So if you don't want to have to read bits of it with your own brain, for those of you who like to embrace laziness, then you have an option on there. Unlike Shadow Club, which was my voice, this is a different person's voice.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes it better or worse, but it's like a more of a professional readery person who's got to do it. So I apologize.
You're a pro.
Flexy. But anyway, so that's to help you guys out. For the most part, I'll be reading big chunks of the book with you guys in class. Like today, we're going to spend all the time reading together and stuff like that. But if you are wanting to, information on there to help you out. All right. Now, once you've done that, you can now put iPad away, unless you're the one kid who's over here still working on hopefully typing up. Okay.
Wait, can we put it in a bag?
Sure. We're not using the iPad anymore.
I'm not really.
That's fine. I'll let you keep figuring it out because you seem to be struggling and the struggle's real. All right. Then to here'sy bits.
Stacked through the ceiling.
With our book that we're getting ready to do ready bits here in a second, let's actually go ahead and be nice to Solia.
Take the break now.
We're going to take our break slightly early, so we're going to pause again. You don't get to sit down yet. I have to check to make sure you turn. I know. I still get to torture you. So we pause for a few minutes. We're going to pause until 2 o'clock for those of you who need to go tinkle.
That was like a year
All
ago.
right.
Exactly.
And we're back from break and time for more stuff. So with book, we are getting ready to get through, hopefully, all of chapter 1, depending on how things go here in a moment. I have a number of things to show you as we get into it. She gives you good advice. One, book takes place a long time ago, before even I was born, so like pre-dinosaur times. I think it's set back in like the 1960s, which is, I know, but it basically just deals with kids making poor choices, which apparently has been happening since kids were invented. So it still works out pretty well. One of the things it's going to start off talking about is this guy. There you go, Paul Newman. Now, he was a movie actor way back in the day, and he was considered all hunky and cool. For the most part, you won't know him except for one of his roles. He was in a Disney movie called Cars. If you saw the Disney movie, he was Doc, who was the blue car. So he was in the first was the old guy. Doc was not in Cars 2 or 3 because he died. And apparently it's real hard to be in movies if you're no longer alive.
No, let's go.
They used it. I know, it's okay. Damn Tiger, you don't have to yell at me.
No, that's Toy Story 4. The dude
How come you just can't summon the necromancer to help him out?
He's Mr. Potato Head, and he died, so they use his voice from old clips.
Right. So again, that still doesn't stop him being dead. He's still dead. It's okay, Jermaine. Jermaine's having trouble processing the fact that Paul Newman's dead. It's okay. It happened a long time ago. And also, if you have grandparents, there's a chance because he also has a salad dressing company. And I had a bunch of kids who kept pointing out if you like salad dressing or pasta sauce, it's called Newman's Own. It also has his face on it. So if you ever go grocery shopping with your parents and you go to the salad dressing aisle, don't get freaked out because you're going to see his face.
Oh, my grandma.
Literally sitting all of them. And the first time I showed this to kids, they're like, my grandma loves that. And I'm like, you go grandmas. Apparently because he was all hot and hunky from when your grandma was younger, apparently that's why grandmas now buy his salad dressing to this day. As far as you guys are concerned, just know that he exists, and the main character is going to be talking about him in a moment. He's going to be referring to Paul Newman, so now you have an idea of who it is. All right. Now we get to go to chapter 1. Let me begin doing ready bits to you. When I stepped out into the bright sunlight from the darkness of the movie house, I had only 2 things on my mind: Paul Newman and a ride home. I was wishing I looked like Paul Newman. He looks tough and I don't, but I guess my own looks aren't so bad. I have light brown, almost red hair and greenish gray eyes. I wish they were more gray because I hate most guys that have green eyes, but I have to be content with what I have. My hair's longer than a lot of boys wear theirs. It's squared off and back, long at the front and sides, but I'm a greaser. Most of my neighborhood rarely bothers to get a haircut. Besides, I look better with long hair. Anyway, I had a long walk home and no company, but I usually loan it anyway, for no reason except that I like to watch movies undisturbed, so I can get into them and live them with the actors. When I see a movie with someone, it's kind of uncomfortable, like having someone read your book over your shoulder. No, I'm different that way. I mean, my second oldest brother, Soda, who's 16 going on 17, never cracks a book at all. And my oldest brother, Daryl, who we call Derry, works too long and hard to be interested in a story or drawing a picture. So I'm not like them. Nobody in our gang digs movies and books the way I do. Anyway, for a while there, I thought I was the only person in the world that did. So I loaned it. Yeah, his older brother's name is Soda Pop. You're just going to have to. We're going to find out his parents are very special people. The main character's name is Pony Boy. And that is his legit real name. His parents named him Pony Boy.
Wait, the one that's talking.
The one who's talking right now, his name is Pony Boy. His older brother is Soda Pop. Oldest older brother, name is Daryl. Why did he get the normal name? Because that's the kid that the parents love the most. Duh. Everyone has some. I should probably give you a copy of the book also. Everyone has that favorite child who gets the normal name, and then the other kids who get the special name. So same thing here. So, and then he's going to refer to his group of friends as a gang. Back in the 60s, gang had a different terminology. They didn't mean like Crips and Bloods and like going around shooting people gang.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's more like how you guys refer to like a squad, a group of people. It just means, yeah, like the kids that you just hang out with on a regular basis. There's like this 7 kids, these 3 brothers, the youngest, the middle, and the oldest, and then these 4 who are mostly all friends with the middle brother. And they all sort of just hang out. Soda Pop and his friends, and then sort of these other 2 that sort of hang out with them. They're the siblings. So that sort of gives you an idea. Oh, I'll tell you now. They're going to refer themselves as greasers. If you're unfamiliar, goes back to like the movie Grease, which had like John Travolta in it. It was like the black leather jackets and the hair and stuff like that from like the 1950s and 60s and stuff like that. This is what he's referring to himself. He is a greaser. The other group that we're going to get to in a second are going to be called these. We're going to come back to them in a second.
Like golf people socks.
I'm pretty sure that guy's name is Chad, but I don't know.
I think his name is Gary Winthorpe.
Bridge kids.
That works. Oh, see, we're all attacking poor Chads. All right. Continuing page 2.
Oh, what?
Soda tries to understand at least, which is more than Derry does. But then, I don't know, Soda's different from anybody. He understands everything. Well, almost. Like, he's never hollering at me all the time, the way Derry is, or treating me as if I was 6 instead of 14. I love Soda more than I've ever loved anyone, even Mom and Dad. He's always happy-go-lucky and grinning, while Derry is hard and firm and rarely grins at all. Then Derry's gone through a lot in his 20 years, grown up too fast. Soda Pop will never grow up at all. I don't know which way's the best. I'll find out one of these days. Anyway, I went on walking home, thinking about the movie, suddenly wishing I had some company. Greasers can't walk alone too much, or they'll get jumped, or someone will come by and scream, "Greaser!" at them, which doesn't make you feel too hot, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't.
We get jumped by the socials. I'm not sure how you spell it. It's the abbreviation for the socials, the jet set, the West Side rich kids. It's like the term greaser, which is used to class all us boys on the East Side. We're poorer than the socials and the middle class. I reckon we're wilder too. Not like the socias who jump greasers and wreck houses and throw beer blasts for kicks and get editorials in the paper for being a public disgrace one day and an asset to society the next. Greasers are, well, they're almost like hoods. We steal things, drive old souped up cars, hold up gas stations, and have a gang fight once in a while. All right, I don't mean I do things like that. Derry would kill me if I got into trouble with the police. Well, since Mom and Dad were killed in an auto wreck, the three of us get to stay together only as long as we behave. So Soda and I stay out of trouble as much as we can, careful not to get caught when we can't. And I only mean that most greasers do things like that. Just like we wear our hair long and dress in blue jeans and t-shirts, or leave our shirt tails out and wear leather jackets and tennis shoes or boots. I'm not saying that either socias or greasers are better. It's just the way things are. So now that we've officially introduced them, greasers, this would be Ponyboy, main character, and his group of friends. And then I know when you read it, see it, you're going to pronounce it as socks because you're thinking of the things you pull up over your feet, but it's spelled differently. I'm going to be pronouncing it as Soch, S-O-C, because it stands for socials, which are like the rich preppy kids in the school. And so a lot of the book is going to deal with these rich preppy kids getting into fights with the greaser kids. And so
this is like Outer Banks.
Outer Banks is actually based on what the story comes from, actually very much so. As we get farther into it, you're going to see a lot of overlap. The guy who wrote Outer Banks stole a lot from The Outsiders because it's sort of a famous story. But yeah, I found a picture of a Soch dog, and I was like, well, how do you not include a picture of a Soch dog? And then Chad.
Chad has a bullet.
He just has his hair, likes to party in the back. We're not gonna judge Chad. Sometimes those things happen. I could have waited to. I'm gonna leave Chad up there for torture. I could have waited to go to the movies until Derry or Soda Pop got off work. They would have gone with me, or driven me there, or just walked along. Although Soda just can't sit still long enough to enjoy a movie, and they bore Derry to death. Derry thinks his life is enough without inspecting other people's. Or I could have gotten one of the gang to come along. One of the four boys Derry and Soda and I have grown up with and we consider family. We're almost as close as brothers. I mean, when you grow up in a tight-knit neighborhood like ours, you get to know each other real well. If I thought about it, I could have called Derry and he would have come by on his way home and picked me up. Or Two-Bit Matthews, one of our gang. He would have come by to get me in his car if I'd asked. But sometimes I just don't use my head. It drives my brother Derry nuts when I do stuff like that. Because I'm supposed to be smart. I make good grades, I have a high IQ and everything. But I don't use my head. Besides, I like walking. They're going to talk about a red Corvair. I went and looked it up. This is the type of car they're talking about in this next part. This is what the red Corvair is. Correct. Because it's a...
Know your vehicle.
Yeah.
No.
Because yelling at him is always a solid choice.
Yes.
I'd about decided I didn't like it so much, though, when I spotted that red Corvair trailing me. I was almost 2 blocks from home then, so I started walking a little faster. I'd never been jumped, but I'd seen Johnny after 4 socias got hold of him, and it wasn't pretty. Johnny was scared of his own shadow after that. And Johnny was 16 then. Ponyboy's 14. I knew it wasn't any use, though. The fast walking, I mean. Even before the Corvair pulled up beside me and 5 socias got out. I got pretty scared. I mean, I'm kind of small for 14. Even though I have a good build, those guys were bigger as me. I automatically hitched my thumbs in my jeans and slouched, wondering if I could get away if I made a break for it. And I remember Johnny, his face all cut up and bruised. And I remembered how he had cried when we found him, half conscious in the corner lot. Johnny had it awful rough at home. It took a lot to make him cry. I was sweating something fierce, although I was cold, and I could feel my palms getting clammy and the perspiration running down my back. I get like that when I'm real scared. I glanced around for a pop bottle or a stick or something. Steve Randall, Soda's best buddy, he once held off 4 guys with a busted pop bottle, but there was nothing. So I just stood there like a bump on a log while they surrounded me. I don't use my head. They walked around slowly, silently, smiling. A real fast pause before they get to the action. They talk about a busted pop bottle. That happens a lot in the book. Not the ones that you guys get in machines here, like the plastic ones. That's not going to help you in a fight. Because if you try to hit someone with that, it's like badonk, badonk. You're just going to badonk in the head. They're going to laugh and then stab you. So I'm just trying to prepare you for the next time you guys get into like a fight. They're talking about the glass bottles. Because you can take like the ones like root beer comes in a lot of times. And you can smash the end of it. And then you have a sharp edge. And then when you need to stab a fool, it'll keep you alive. So that's what he's looking for, is the glass bottle for the stabby, not the plastic ones. Sure, I mean, you can do that first to get to the stabby bits.
You do that because then they'll be hurting and you just stab them.
Or you have this as an option, but it might not always work as well as you might think.
Just gonna kind of cheat.
But again, I didn't want you guys to use a plastic one and get yourselves in trouble. They're also going to talk about the fact that down the street from Playboy's house is an empty lot. That's where this thing is going to happen. It's going to quite a few things happen there. An empty lot is just like a place in the neighborhood, either where they are going to build a house or could have built a house and it never got built. Like I used to live in Woodbury up the street, and there's a lot of like empty lots that got turned into parks there. Autumn was the. I did. I now moved just right across the street. And then so on this one, there's like they have an empty lot. There's actually a house there now. I found that out earlier when the kid's like, "That's my house." Whereas the spot where you could build a house but it's not there yet, that's just an empty lot. It just means a place in the neighborhood where they've not built a thing, but it will be there. Oh, and the last thing, they're going to talk about the socias and what they're wearing. This is what they're referring to. It's an outfit called Madras. Not as popular now. It was popular a couple of years ago because Hollister brought it back. But there you go. Let's go back to that picture. All right. You are talkative today, Graham. Normally you're a bit more sleepy.
I always am at home.
That's it. Hey, Grease, one said in an over-friendly voice. We're going to do you a favor, Greaser. We're going to cut all that long, greasy hair off. He had on a Madras shirt, and I can still see it. Blue Madras. One of them laughed and then cussed me out in a low voice. I couldn't think of anything to say. There just isn't a whole lot you can say while waiting to get mugged, so I kept my mouth shut. You need a haircut, Greaser? The medium-sized blonde pulled a knife out of his back pocket and flipped the blade open. I finally thought of something to say. No! I was backing up, away from that knife. Of course, I backed right into one of them. They had me down in a second. They had my arms and legs pinned down, and one of them was sitting on my chest with his knees on my elbows, and if you don't think that hurts, you're crazy. I could smell English leather shaving lotion and stale tobacco. I wondered foolishly if I would suffocate before they did anything. I was scared so bad I was wishing I would. I fought to get loose and almost did for a second. Then they tightened up on me, and the one on my chest slugged me a couple times, so I lay still and swearing at them between gasps. The blade was held against my throat. How would you like that haircut to begin just below the chin? It occurred to me then that they could kill me. I went wild. I started screaming for soda, dairy, anyone. Someone put his hand over my mouth, and I bit it as hard as I could, tasting blood running through my teeth. I heard a muttered curse and got slugged again. And then they were stuffing a handkerchief in my mouth. One of them kept saying, "Shut him up, for Pete's sake, shut him up." Then there were shouts and pounding of feet, and then the socias jumped up and left me lying there, gasping. I lay there and wondered what in the world was happening. People were jumping over me and running by me, and I was too dazed to figure it out. Then someone had me under the armpits and was hauling me to my feet. It was Derry. You all right, pony boy? He was shaking me. I wished he'd stop. I was dizzy enough anyway. I could tell it was Derry, though. Partly because of the voice, partly because Derry's always rough with me without meaning to be. I'm okay. Quit shaking me, Derry. I'm okay. He stopped instantly. I'm sorry. He wasn't reeling. Derry isn't ever sorry for anything he does. I mean, it seems funny to me that he should look just exactly like my father and act exactly the opposite from him. My father was only 40 when he died, and he looked 25, and a lot of people thought Derry and Dad were brothers instead of father and son. But they only looked alike. My father was never rough with anyone without meaning to be. Now, the quick pause in that part. When they were beating him up, he mentioned two smells that were strong and overwhelming.
Tobacco and leather.
Stale tobacco.
Stale tobacco and English leather shaving lotion. So I went out and bought English leather shaving lotion so you guys get a chance to see what it smells like. I did not go out and get stale tobacco. I apologize. I was afraid if I brought that in, you guys all start smoking it because you know how kids are nowadays with your tobacco. But I thought I'd bring in the English leather shaving lotion so you guys get a chance to smell it. Home children, so you guys get a chance to fully experience. And I'll bust this out again on Wednesday for you guys. I'm going to come around and give you a chance to smell it. You're going to find out. So this is what it is. It's like a cologne. You can do a little splashy. This was sort of their version of Axe body spray. The ladies love Axe body spray. At least that's what every junior high boy thinks. Because apparently it gets sprayed all over the place. So I'm going to come around. Hang on. Let me get a little splash in here. I put cotton balls, and then I put a little bit on here. I'm going to get a little bit more to refresh it. If you want to imagine, I can hold your face against it so you can't move, and then you get the full Pony Boy experience. Some people pay good money for that. There we go.
You need to have the sight.
I do apologize. See, imagine that, and then someone blowing tobacco smoke in your face. Mr. Broviak, it's a dream come true. I know, right? Kids nowadays. All right. So if you want to give it a sniff, and then we'll talk about it. Oh, home children, if you hold the iPad up to your face, I'll put that up there for you. There you go. Just there. Oh, yeah. Get a good old sniff on that. Oh, it comes right across. Use your imagination as kids describe it, and that'll probably help it come more to life for you.
Oh, thank you, Jesus. He can go first.
No!
I want to go first.
See?
I already smell it through the mask. Does it smell bad?
Well,
This is
find out.
exactly how you spread
It
it.
smells
It
like
smells
lettuce.
like lettuce.
It smells like lettuce.
Yeah, it smells like lettuce.
Ugh.
We might need to talk about what lettuce you're eating.
Gross.
That's a whole other
That
conversation.
smells like cologne paired with
Looks like
shell.
asparagus or something.
What kind of food are you guys eating?
No, that's how you spread COVID.
It kind of does. Yeah.
That's how you spread COVID.
It's
Shaving cream is how you spread COVID.
By sniffing this?
Broccoli mixed in there
How could any girl like you with that?
So, if you can hear it at home, they're all saying it smells wonderful, and they're really impressed. So at one time, this was what boys wore to impress the lady folks. And yes, I can still smell it through the plastic because it's strong. It's strong. Along those same lines, gentlemen, if you would like to impress the ladies today, come see me after class. I can give you a little splashy, and then you can go attract all the ladies you want. And then the same thing on Wednesday, guys. You can come by first thing in the morning. You go, hey, you give me a little splashy, and then we'll hook you up.
Wait, for real?
The dreams.
For real?
Yeah, I don't want to. I'm not going to be responsible for all the women come calling, but just be right there. Graham,
You should put it on and videotape it and see what your wife thinks of it.
you put it on again? I wear that every day. No. By the way, if you are wanting to figure out where to get your own old man juice, CVS, that's where I had to go to find it. Apparently, it is not as common as you might think. You have to go and hunt down old people to find out where they shop. I've been told it smells like shaving cream. I've been told it smells like a barber shop. I had one kid that just smells like my grandpa, which is probably the same idea. But at one time, they would slap that on to smell good,
You've also been
or
told that
apparently smell like
lettuce.
lettuce or asparagus, depending on what it is you guys are eating at your house.
I don't know what kind of food you guys are eating, but
Apparently, it's really strong stuff. All right, let's continue our joy. Page 6.
No, I mean, it looks
Oh,
like to me,
do you guys know what a cowlick is?
No.
So it's proud of you on that one. A cowlick is the thing with hair where it like sticks up on its own.
That's not alfalfa.
That's alfalfa. And so that's like the most famous cowlick. So it's when like I have a cowlick in my hair, but I don't cut it, and it gets long. It like sticks up and does like its own little thing.
It does that when I like wake up.
Yeah, same thing, and that's what like, they're talking about a cowlick. So they're gonna refer to that here in just a moment. All right. Bottom of page 6. Derry is the oldest brother. Derry is 6'2", broad-shouldered and muscular. He has dark brown hair that kicks out in front and a slight cowlick in the back, just like Dad's. But Derry's eyes are his own. He's got eyes that are like 2 pieces of pale blue-green ice. They've got a determined set to them, like the rest of them. He looks older than 20. Tough, cool, smart. He'd be real handsome if his eyes weren't so cold. He doesn't understand anything that is not plain, hard fact. But he uses his head. I sat down again, rubbing my cheek where I've been slugged the most. Derry jammed his fists in his pockets. They didn't hurt you too bad, did they? They did. I was smarting and aching, and my chest was sore. I was so nervous, my hands were shaking, and I wanted to start bawling. But you just don't say that to Derry. No, I'm okay. Soda Pop came loping back. By then, I figured that all the noise I'd heard was the gang coming to rescue me. He dropped down beside me, examining my head. You got cut up a little, huh, Pony Boy? I looked at him blankly. I did? He pulled out a handkerchief, wet the end of it with his tongue, and then pressed it gently against the side of my head. You're bleeding like a stuck pig. I am? Look. He showed me the handkerchief, reddened as if by magic. Did they pull a blade on you? I remember the voice. You need a haircut, greaser. The blade must have slipped while he was trying to shut me up. Yeah. Now, Soda is handsomer than anyone else I know. Not like Derry. Soda's like movie star kind of handsome. The kind that people stop on the street to watch go by. He's not as tall as Derry, a little slimmer, but he has a finely drawn, sensitive face that somehow manages to be reckless and thoughtful at the same time. He's got dark gold hair that he combs back, long, silky, and straight. In the summer, the sun bleaches it to a shining wheat gold. His eyes are dark brown, lively, dancing, recklessly laughing eyes that can be gentle and sympathetic one moment and blazing with anger the next. He has Dad's eyes, but Soda's one of a kind. He can get drunk in a drag race or dancing without ever getting near alcohol. In our neighborhood, it's rare to find a kid who doesn't drink once in a while. But Soda never touches a drop. He doesn't need to. He gets drunk on just plain living. And he understands everybody.
Probably on soda.
Well, we're going to find out that, for one, the kids in the story, most of them drink and smoke and make all kinds of poor choices. Soda makes poor choices, we're going to find out, but drinking's not one of them. When they say that he gets drunk without touching alcohol, it just means he's the kid that has that outgoing personality who is just always friendly and outgoing and doesn't care. It's like he doesn't need alcohol like I feel like he needs to.
The kid who gets drunk on soda.
Then just like his name. Sure.
What? Wait, yo.
He looked at me more closely. I looked away hurriedly because, if you want to know the truth, I was starting to bawl. Not like bawling, but like bawling, like crying. I was starting to bawl. I knew I was as white as I felt, and I was shaking like a leaf. Soda just put his hand on my shoulder. Easy, Pony Boy. It ain't gonna hurt you no more. I know, I said. But the ground began to blur. I felt hot tears running down my cheeks. I brushed them away impatiently. I'm just a little spooked, that's all. I drew a quivering breath and then quit crying. You just don't cry in front of Derry. I mean, not unless you're hurt like Johnny had been that day we found him in the vacant lot. Compared to Johnny, I wasn't hurt at all. Soda rubbed my hair. You're an okay kid, Pony. I had to grin at him. Soda can make you grin no matter what. I guess it's because he's always grinning so much himself. You're crazy, Soda. Out of your mind. We're going to talk about cocking an eyebrows, where the one eyebrow gets popped up on one side. The Rock used to do it all the time. I had to grin at him. Soda can make you grin no matter what. I guess it's because he's always grinning so much himself. You're crazy, Soda. Out of your mind. Derry looked as if he'd like to knock our heads together. You're both nuts. Soda merely cocked one eyebrow, the trick he picked up from Two-Bit. Seems to run in the family. Derry stared at him for a second and then cracked a grin. Soda Pop isn't afraid of him like everyone else and enjoys teasing him. I would just as soon tease a full-grown grizzly. But for some reason, Derry seems to like being teased by Soda. Our gang had chased the Socialists to their car and heaved rocks at them. They came running toward us now. 4 lean, hard guys. They were all as tough as nails and looked it. I mean, I'd grown up with them. They accepted me, even though I was younger, because I was Derry and Soda's kid brother. I kept my mouth shut good. Steve Randall was 17. All right, we'll go to the next screen. There's her. Steve Randall was 17, tall and lean, with thick, greasy hair he kept combed in complicated swirls. He was cocky, smart, Soda's best buddy since grade school. Steve's specialty was cars. He could lift a hubcap quicker and more quietly than anyone in the neighborhood, but he also knew cars upside down and backward, and he could drive anything on wheels. He and Soda worked at the same gas station, Steve part-time and Soda full-time, and their station got more customers than any other one in town. Whether that was because Steve was so good with cars, or because Soda attracted girls like honey draws flies, I couldn't tell you. I liked Steve only because he was Soda's best friend. He didn't like me. He thought I was a tag-along and a kid. Soda always took me with them when they went places if they weren't taking girls, and that bugged Steve. It wasn't my fault. Soda always asked me. I didn't ask him. Soda doesn't think I'm a kid. Real quick with Steve, do you guys know what hubcaps are?
Yeah.
I mean, if not, I'm not attacking you for it. So they're the things that are on car wheels, the tires you pop off. Nowadays, they don't use hubcaps quite as much because you have like much nicer wheels you can have. But at one time, you had these metal hubcaps. And when they says that he lifts hubcaps, it's a way of stealing them. Hubcap. And so nowadays, they're made out of plastic. But they used to be metal. And if you were an aspiring criminal and you were a kid, it was an easy way to make money. You would see a car sitting on the street in your neighborhood. You would just take a screwdriver and you would literally just pop off the wheel, the little hubcap, take them with you, and then find somebody to go sell them to. And so you would pop off the really nice ones. Me still talking. And then you would then go find somebody else to go sell them to who did not have as nice of ones on them, and you could make money doing it. For those of you who are trying to make weekend plans, don't plan on doing it now. They're not worth anything. Now you get them for like $1 from Walmart. And so if you're going around stealing them in your neighborhood, people are just going to laugh at you. But at one time, it was the thing that you could do. So that was Steve. He would just go around and steal the hubcaps and then resell them to other people. And then they're going to talk about Two-Bit. They're going to compare him to this guy called Will Rogers, who was a stand-up comic, one of the first ones that were out there. Nowadays, I would say he probably is connected to John Mulaney, probably the better connection of people. So back
I
time,
love him.
Too cool.
Max loves me or somebody. Max, you're a very special boy.
No, John Mulaney. I like John Mulaney.
I do too. I'm a big fan of Mulaney.
Max, I see how it is.
Two-Bit Matthews was the oldest of the gang and the wisecracker of the bunch. He was about 6 feet tall, stocky in build, and very proud of his long, rusty-colored sideburns. He had gray eyes and a wide grin, and he couldn't stop making funny remarks to save his life. You couldn't shut up that guy. He always had to get his 2 bits worth in, hence his name. Even his teachers forgot his real name was Keith. They remembered he had one. Life was one big joke to Two-Bit. He was famous for shoplifting and his black-handled switchblade, which he couldn't have acquired without his first talent. And he was always smarting off to the cops. He really couldn't help it. Everything he said was so irresistibly funny that he just had to let the police in on it to brighten up their dull lives. That's the way he explained it to me. He liked fights, blondes, and for some unfathomable reason, school. He was still a junior at 18 and a half, and he never learned anything. He just went for kicks. I liked him real well because he kept us laughing at ourselves, as well as at other things. He reminded me of Will Rogers. Maybe it was the grin. Back to here. If I had to pick the real character of the gang, it'd be Dallas Winston. Dally. I used to like to draw his picture when he was in a dangerous mood, for then I could get his personality down in a few lines. He had an elfish face with high cheekbones and a pointed chin, small, sharp animal teeth, and ears like a lynx. His hair was almost white, it was so blonde. He didn't like haircuts or hair oil either, so it fell over his forehead in wisps and kicked out in the back in tufts and curled behind his ears and along the nape of his neck. His eyes were blue, blazing ice, cold with a hatred of the whole world. Dally had spent 3 years on the wild side of New York and been arrested at the age of 10. He was tougher than the rest of us. Tougher, colder, meaner. The shade of difference that separates a greaser from a hood wasn't present in Dally. He was as wild as the boys in the downtown outfits, like Tim Shepard's gang. In New York, Dally blew off steam and gang fights, but here, organized gangs are rarities. They're just small bunches of friends who stick together, and the warfare is between the social classes. A rumble, when it's called, is usually born of a grudge fight, and the opponents just happen to bring their friends along. I mean, okay, there are a few named gangs around, like the River Kings and the Tiber Street Tigers, but here in the Southwest, there's no gang rivalry. So Dally, even though he could get into a good fight sometimes, had no specific thing to hate, no rival gang, only socials. And you can't win against them, no matter how hard you try, because they've got all the breaks, and even whipping them isn't going to change that fact. Maybe that was why Dallas was so bitter. He had quite a reputation. They have a file on him down at the police station. He'd been arrested. He got drunk, rode in rodeos, lied, cheated, stole, rolled drunks, jumped small kids. He did everything. I didn't like him, but he was smart, and you had to respect him.
How can you be smart if you've gone to jail?
You can, well, going to jail doesn't affect you being smart. I've not been to jail. I've been arrested.
Oh, yeah.
There's a difference.
Probably for, like, screaming at a cop.
Sounds like fun. So with Dally, 3 things with him. One, they talk about the fact that he rolls drunks is one of the things that he does. Rolling a drunk, for those of you who, again, planning your weekend hobbies, it's when you go to a party and you find a kid that has had so much alcohol they pass out flat down on the ground. You walk over to them, roll their body over, and then you just take their wallet, pull out the money, and throw the wallet back down. So it's called rolling a drunk. You literally roll them over, take their money. It talks about him jumping little kids. That's different than just getting into a fight. Jumping somebody. So let's say Lily and I get beef and we start fighting with each other, but I'm scared of Lily because she can take me. So instead of getting into a fair fight where it's just Lily and I getting into a fight, I get a bunch of my teacher friends together and we go into Lily's neighborhood, wait till we see her walking around one day, and then jump out from behind a car, push Lily down, and then just start kicking her while she's on the ground. That's called jumping somebody. And that's what Dally likes to do. Find little kids and then jump out and then just randomly beat them up. You know what you've done is spent 9 points in a single day, which is slightly different, but to each their own. And so that goes back to Dally making his poor choices. One of the issues we're going to have in the book is that Dally and Derry, the names look very similar, but they're completely different people in the books. The best thing I can try to help you out is Derry has 2 R's in it, and the word brother has 2 R's in it. So Derry, brother. Dally has an L in it, like a loser. And Dally is a double loser. So 2 L's for Dally for loser, 2 R's for dairy for brother. And tonight, we are on the bottom of page 11. So you're asking what page we were on from that one. So hopefully you don't roll drunks or beat up small children or lose 9 points in the class period.
Yay.
Welcome to being awake, Graham. Johnny Cade was last and least. Now, if you can picture a little dark puppy that's been kicked too many times and is lost in a crowd of strangers, you'll have Johnny. He was the youngest next to me, smaller than the rest, with a slight build. He had big black eyes and a dark tan face, and his hair was jet black and heavily greased and combed to the side. But it was so long that it fell in shaggy bangs across his forehead. He had a nervous, suspicious look in his eyes, and that beating he got from the Socias didn't help matters. He was the gang's pet, everyone's kid brother. His father was always beating him up, and his mother ignored him, except when she was hacked off at something. Then you could hear her yelling at him clear down at our house. I think he hated that worse than getting whipped. He would have run away 1,000,000 times if we hadn't been there. If it hadn't been for the gang, Johnny would never even known what love and affection are. And there we'll stop.
Yes.
Glad that brings you happiness, Johnny.
I'm kidding.
All right. We will pick up there. I wanted to finish chapter 1, but we didn't quite get there, but not the end of the world. We'll finish chapter 1 with you guys on Wednesday and then get into chapter 2, where we get more into the stabbing and poor choices and bad kids and stuff like that. Blue kids, make sure you have things done so I don't have to be mean to you come Wednesday. Red kids, this was our last day like this. The next time you guys see me in person, we'll have a whole classroom full of kids. Gray kids, enjoy being gray. There's not a whole lot I can do for you guys. I mean, love you and all,
Race
but
is kind of great.
yeah, I'm not sure you know how race works, but that's okay. All right.